What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTubeverse? That is a creaky door. That needs some WD-40. Alright. So, as I was saying a couple days ago in one of my vlogs, I'm going to explain what this kind of terrarium is about, or why this terrarium is what it is, and so on. And I'm going to be kind of cleaning up a bit too. And I'll show you kind of what I do on a weekly basis for cleaning up a vivarium like this for my little leopard gecko friend. Her name is Lady. She is going to be pretty much turning 8 this October. Because when I got her in December, those few years ago, I heard that she was 2 months old. And I think she looked a little bit bigger than 2 months. They might have had her age a bit off, but I'm going to follow through with it. And I'm going to go by the December I got her from, and you know, a couple or so months before that, to the 2 or 3 months before that, I just kind of put it some point in October for her as like her birthday celebration. So she's going to be 8 soon. I've had her since she was growing and all that. So how I've been keeping her alive and what I've been doing to keep her happy, she is resting right now. That's her tail. She's not had her tail break or fall off. The big thing with her were her toes getting stuck shut on it. And that's why I had to do something like this. So I'm going to get the stand set up right quick so I can use both hands to clean up. While I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about what this is, what kind of substrate I use, why I use this, and where it could be controversial to use this kind of substrate because impaction is a thing. Give me one moment. Alright, so hopefully this looks good. I have it flipped to the side to get a nice wide angle thing there. I'm gonna step on through real quick. There we go. Alright, so I'm blocking the way real bad. Let me get down to a level. So, most of the time for leopard geckos and other types of lizards and things that might be similar, how you mostly want to do is at least about 3 different heights. You would want to set up, the way I have it set up, it looks like this is my hot side, but we'll get to that in a second. There's a trick to this. So the hot side for her is over here, on this side of things, to what would be me looking at it to the left. So house left, essentially. And she also has calcium powder. Try to keep that nice and refreshed and looking good. You don't want that to clump up or be nasty because it could be moldy. So calcium powder with leopard geckos more specifically. There might be some other type pets of animals that might seek the powder up specifically, but you can just leave them the calcium powder in their dish. So you don't have to worry if you're concerned if you're not dusting enough for your crickets or anything. Leaving them a small dish of calcium powder is a very good trick to keep them from getting what is called metabolic bone disease. And that stuff right there, you know, it's not fun. You know, I'm going to say if you're looking up the pictures of it, it's pretty much like the limbs and stuff will warp. Most of the time it's in the spine. And depending on what's getting twisted and how it is, it can be debilitating to not being able to live the full time that a lizard is supposed to based on whatever the breed or species is. So, with that being said, calcium powder is important. What's also important is having a hot and a cool humid side. Now with leopard geckos, they will go to the cool humid side to use the bathroom a lot. So here, I keep it a little hydrated. That's why you have this natural lucky bamboo in here. And I do keep isopods and springtails on this side. That is a video I've done a little bit before. I can do another more detailed one another day. Retaining 2 such awesome little cleaners and how to keep them healthy and properly, you know, just, I would say genetics nice and refreshed, because you do have to introduce new types of cleaner insects I say the best time to do it is anywhere between 6 to 8 months. Some people say you can go up to a year. It's really up in the air. It does depend on budget and what you can do for your animal. So, you know, do what you can. Do what you can. And with that, there's the cold side, and then the big thing is your hot side. So that covers pretty much the 2 hides and sides. I said there were 3, and I'll get to what that is in a moment as well. But for her hot side, this is a heat emitter. It does not emit which needs to be turned on actually. I turn it off at night too sometimes, because with her, it's important to kind of mimic hot and cold. Even though they do come from sort of what would be considered desert areas, such as Middle East and even west parts of India, they still need to deal with, like, I would say at nighttime, as low as sometimes maybe 50 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit maybe. I know it gets quite chilly at nighttime in open areas like that, and they actually don't live in sand like other lizards do. They actually find outcroppings of sort of areas where water will gather if it rains and so on. They like to find tunnels or rock crevices that were already pre-made as tunnels to hide in. And they have a tunnel structure where they will have one male leopard gecko usually defending his territory. You know, they have the scent glands and they rub their stuff around just like lions do all around their little spot. And it's a little harem of females that they have. And what they do, they have a spot to use the bathroom in the tunnels, they have a spot where they sleep, they have a spot where they try to eat. So mimicking a hot and cold side controls where they use the bathroom, and it also controls where they can warm up. Now this is off, but she does not have no kind of heat source at all. This wire down here is a heating pad, and I have it pulled out a bit so I can feel it, and right now it is a little warm. So heating pads for leopard geckos, you want to go for lower wattage, nothing too crazy, especially if you have something like what I'm doing. And another trick, you never want your above heat source to be directly above your bottom heat source. If you have too much warmth hitting all at once, it could overheat the lizard to the point of bad news, you know? So, and then the third type of hide that they got is the humid hide. Now this is the one that will have moisture in it. It helps them with their shed. Normally you can pack it in with some sort of either ripped up paper towels that you would change out, or moss, like a type of Java moss or something. Something that's not too, you know, expensive or is going to go and have to be replaced too quickly. They will also, for lady's case, since she's a female, the humid hide kind of thing where the bedding's at is where leopard geckos will lay their eggs. Female leopard geckos will lay eggs even without a male around. The only difference is the eggs are not fertilized if there's not a male. And you do want to keep them alone. I know there are people who are very experienced, that are YouTubers, that are very intelligent, that have spent a lot of time, that can and somehow do have them in groups, but they have large tanks. They normally have a lot of years of experience. And once you get to that point in your care for your leopard gecko more specifically, you will know for sure if you would want to do that or handle that. With my 8 years or so with her, I have decided to keep her alone. I'm not going to try to breed her. There's not going to be any other lizards with her. So I would recommend, especially if you're on your first or second lizard and have under 10 years of experience with animals, I would strongly recommend you keep your leopard gecko alone. Now the size of the tank is a 40-gallon, and the 40-gallon is probably not the smallest or largest. I mean, the smallest you would want is around a 20 for a leopard gecko, but I do 40 because that's still good enough to control my hot and cold. Now again, with experience, this one's not as crazy difficult, but you can get them into larger enclosures and kind of set them up in a way that they are good to go and can find hot and cold spots and everything. And some larger enclosures you would want multiples of this base setup I have up here in different spots. Now the last thing is this is a UVB lamp. This is just a no heat. I can put my hand right up against it because it's not meant for heat. It's meant for emitting solar type ray in a sense. So it mimics sun radiation for these plants. These are live lucky bamboos. I like the lucky bamboo a lot because these guys, let me actually move that in like that. There we go. These guys don't really grow from the stalk thing right here, the thick part. The leaves and the curled up little bit of the leaves that come from the big old thick stalks. That's what grows out. Oops, sorry buddy. Oh no, I bopped the plant. You okay? It'll be fine. I am putting some more dirt in here actually today. I have those 2 tanks with the isopods and springtails. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about them real quick. And I'm going to be holding the phone again and showing you guys how I get some cobwebs and stuff out here. Because when you have a nice cozy spot, things from outside of your tank want to try and get into it. So let's go ahead. Oof, that was probably lovely. Y'all seeing me all walking up in that? Alright. So let's expertly turn this off and go on to the next part and the last part of pretty much what this tank is about. Okay, so as I'm doing all this, we might see Lady sort of move around some, but I got it zoomed in real good. So this is the dirt and stuff. That's some, leftover waste and so on. You can see the cobwebs and things. These things can build in just a couple of days and whatnot. And some yuckage. So I usually wait a couple weeks before messing with that too much. You can see the soil here is very more, kind of compacted a little bit more. It's got moisture all in it, and it quickly from there, focus, will change to very dry, loose soil. She is fed on this side. Let me zoom it out back to regular here. Let's see, are you doing that for me? There we go. Technology and I get along so good. But so another thing I forgot to mention in the first part. I was like, but there is so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see, I have multiple hides and everything. It's good to have, if you can, different types of areas for them to climb on, even though they're terrestrial, which means they usually are found in the earth or, like I said, in rock crevices and whatnot, and they are still curious little things, and they like to climb. I'm a little distracted on the way I'm talking because I'm trying to get these cobwebs. So how I get the cobwebs out and things like that, I usually use pieces of paper towel roll that's going to be put away into the recycling or used as, fire stuff anyway, or, paper towels, something you can wrap up real easy and get junk out with. But this is kind of the process I do to clean everything up. And with that, I'm not going to go too deep into this part because this is the part that's going to be a little boring. But it gives you a really good idea of some of my methods on how I clean up and stuff, how I keep her going. And she's been doing really good. Now she's sleeping. She is good. I can see if she can get zoomed in. That's so dark in there. I don't know. But see, it's crepuscular, so I was trying to get, that was very dark in there, but she's sleeping. They mostly will sleep towards kind of the middle of the day. Why? Because in the wild where they're from, it is the hottest parts of the day, and also it is the time of the day where their biggest predators are hunting. In the areas they come from, the things that are probably their biggest worry outside of snakes is birds. Birds will come by, scoop them up, eat them up. The deserts have some very powerful, very cunning raptors out there. They will come down, grab them. So because of that, they like to come out in the evenings, and so areas where it's a little darker. So that's why people thought they were nocturnal, because they come out at night a lot as well, for the very reason of they got that little bit of time to find the bugs and stuff. That's the time where the most insects are crawling around as well. A lot of the stuff seems to cycle around as avoiding the sun where they're from. So they do not necessarily need the UVB or UVAs and things like that. They just really need calcium powder because they are mostly underground a lot, but it is beneficial to have those things, and mimicking a light cycle is very, very important. So that is pretty much everything for right now. If I forgot something, I'll probably make a part 2 for this. But she does avoid impaction because I did not do this for her until she was probably 4 or 5 years old. So this has been a sort of a terrarium setup for her for about 4 years now. Probably more 3.5. But for 3 to 4 years, because I saw that she was having a lot of trouble with her toe shed, I started setting her up with the vivarium. Now this is going to take study and learning as well, because impaction is when an animal of any kind eats something it's not supposed to, and they can't pass any food they eat anymore because, I'll flip it, because all their stuff is pretty much blocked up. And because of that, it will lead to very bad times for them. And as far as that goes, Loose soil, I would say I use pretty much Eco Earth is what I was using and what I got in here. And it's got little bits of moss and stuff. I've noticed when she chases crickets, get little bits of it in her mouth. But if it's a moss piece or something, she will spit it out. So any kind of little bit of dirt that she does get in her mouth, she can pass it. And I did wait until she was an adult. I would recommend not doing the setup for juveniles because they are much more likely to eat things, and they might get a big old mouthful and not know what to do with it and swallow it off of just, what's going on. I would say probably when they're full grown, 2 or 3 years old, do your study, decide what you might want to do. I'd recommend no sand at all because that clumps extremely easy. I don't know any other substitute other than that. It's okay to give them the dried earth. That is actually what they're more used to based on where they kind of look for to live at when they're in the wild. So it's okay if you do a thing with just the soil and stuff. I do not think the walnut stuff, the sand, any of that would be smart for a leopard gecko specifically. And I cannot think of anything else after that. And that is, again, the wrap-up of what I was doing for now. I'm going to keep cleaning and doing throughout the day. But know that this method, how I do it, where I'm at with everything, my setup, my method of taking care of my animals is not the only way, and it may not be the best way. I say the best way always works for what the pet parent is best at and what the special needs or basic needs of whatever animal you have. Things change based on species, if it's handicapped or not, a lot of stuff. You can even have animals that aren't so quick in the head kind of a thing. And that is another issue about stuff, breeding and so on. Normally that they're overheated, the incubation heat was a little bit too high. That usually causes that kind of deal. But that's another story for another day. Today was leopard gecko care. And I would say they are very sweet. The last thing, this is kind of like a cover thing. This is not specific, so I didn't say this during the first part of the video, but they are very easy to handle when they get older. Things you have to start early. And if you would like, comment if you want me to do a video on signs of stress, aggression, and calmness within leopard geckos. And there's been videos by other people like this as well, so go ahead and check out other YouTubers. I am not the only animal care channel. The community itself is a wonderful community that thrives on loving and caring for animals and thus passing that to people so that we can just make this world a better place together. So as always, thank you so much for watching this video. All these kind of guide things are a little bit longer, so for those who actually do watch it to the end and watch the entire thing, thank you so much. Y'all are so stinking awesome for that. And with that, I'm going to be having some lunch and have to do some more cleaning and things throughout the day. So I'm going to try to have the best day I can. I'll let you know how things go at the vlog tonight. I hope that y'all having the best that you can. With that, peace out.